Hello and welcome to the second programme on how to collect antiques without breaking the bank. My name's Ian MacMillan and I've joined forces with antiques expert Maurice Goodlad, and we're going to show you how to turn a house into a home.
Oh, good morning, Maurice. Come in.
John, nice day.
John and Jill have just bought this house in a small village called Thornton-le-Dale in the middle of the North Yorkshire moors. Their aim is to move in 6 months' time, which gives us plenty of opportunity to uncover the types of antiques they're looking for and put them into storage. This time we thought we'd take John and Jill to their first auction. It's a daunting prospect for me, and I'm going to take no chances on the boy Maurice being able to lead me up the garden path. So I thought I'd do a little bit of investigation first of all into the secrets of the auction room. As we mentioned before, hunting out antiques should be fun and can be done anywhere, close to home or on your travels. While I was in Scotland, I popped in to see Taylor's Auction House, an extraordinary place where 3 auctions run at the same time. I met up with Carol, and in between a beating of the gavel, I caught up with her for a guided tour. So where should we start?
Well, if you were a member of the public, your first stop would be right here. This is where you must come to buy a catalogue for the auctions, which we advise everyone to do. And you also have to register and get yourself a number if you want to bid. So this is the first stop, buy the catalogue.
What strikes me as soon as I come in here is I'm a bit overwhelmed. There's so much stuff.
Yes, lots of lots. Of course, tonight we have a specialist painting sale, which is all on view, and a wine sale. The remaining items that you see will be sold tomorrow. We have a porcelain sale, a specialist toy sale, and collector sale on the top floor, and a furniture sale.
Now, it is quite unusual, isn't it, to have a woman auction here?
Well, I think it's becoming more common now. I know when I started off there weren't too many around, but I think there's 1 or 2 started off.
So what was it like, your first auction?
It was pretty scary, but a lot of fun. It was a linen and textile sale.
And what does it feel like actually standing in front of all these people? And you have to be fast on your feet, you have to be quick.
Well, initially you're a bit concerned, but once you get into the swing of it, it's a lot of fun. At £80, your number is 242.
So if I was to say a number to you, if I was to say like 2403, would you know what it was?
Wouldn't have a clue. There are thousands of lots in the sale. As you can appreciate, we can't remember the numbers of each. When we're selling, we have auction sheets with each number listed and the description. And we not only have written in front of us what we're selling, but we also see the item.
And I mean, there must be times when you think, have I got the price for this right? Because it's happening so fast.
Yes, but you must keep track. You know the value of each item that you're selling, and obviously you have to get it close to the price or else you can't sell it. You know, you must get up to the price it's worth.
No rest for the wicked. Straight back up to Thornton-Dale and the next set of preparations for a busy day ahead. Well, another early start. It's a 24-hour job, this antique collecting. Mind you, this is one of my favourite days, a viewing day at an auction, because you get your chance to get in there and get your hands on the stuff. Marvellous. We're off. And whether the viewing day is at a large auction house such as Christie's or at one local to you, the aim of the day is totally the same.
Yeah, you'll be able to pick things up, turn them upside down, look at them, and you need to do that to make sure that what you're buying is in good condition. You don't want to come back with chipped, broken things or woodworm furniture. It's absolutely essential to spend some considerable time at the viewing.
Although auctions are one of the familiar ways of buying antiques, for many of us there's a terrible fear of the unknown as we enter into what seems to be a totally different world. Initially, it seems that everyone around us knows precisely what's going on, but all is not what it seems. Help is immediately at hand. Your first thing to do is buy a catalogue. This gives a guide to all the antiques in the room and a rough idea of the price you should expect to pay. Right, Maurice, we're away now.
Right.
The viewing day of an auction is like being let loose in a museum where you can touch everything without fear of being told off. Our first piece of furniture was a Georgian double chest, and immediately Maurice got stuck in.
First of all, have a look in here, and if you look here, you can see actually that there's been another set of handles on it.
Oh, I see. What about this bit here where it's all... Is that where it's broken being fixed?
That's a bit of masking tape. It's actually cracked.
Cracked basket.
It's been in a house with central heating, I would think, and it's dried out and it's cracked.
So something like that, the crack inside, does that lessen the value of it?
I wouldn't think so.
No.
As long as it's got a bottom in it, you're all right.
That sometimes happens, no bottoms in
Well,
the drawer.
yeah, of course, that's why you have to really, if you're going to pay this sort of money, I mean, you're talking probably about £1,000 for this. So you've got to be sure that everything's right. I mean, if we're seriously going to bid for this, then we've got to have it out, but to look at the back. Because I've actually been at auction, I bought a piece against a wall like that, when I've come to pay for it, moved it away from the wall, it's had hardboard at the back. I mean, what a disaster.
Would this look all right in John and Jill's kitchen, do you think?
No, it's not. It's not a kitchen piece. It would go anywhere in the house, actually, in the bedrooms, in the landing, nice in the hallway. Dining room for putting all your linen in and napkins, whatever. Very useful.
It was a brilliant sense of achievement that we'd so quickly found an item we'd feel happy about bidding for. And everywhere you turned, there was something different to learn about. Do you often get things at auctions like this that have been damaged and then fixed?
Well, with figurines in particular, it's not uncommon to see that head's been damaged, head's been off actually and stuck back on. And unfortunately, it does detract from the value.
But if it was fixed properly, would you always know?
Well, you wouldn't know. A good restorer would fix it and you wouldn't see it, but nevertheless it would still be restored and it still wouldn't have the value if it was original.
If you didn't know it was restored, how would you know it was restored, if you see what I mean?
Well, an honest antique dealer would say when he sold it, it's been restored. Right, what do you think about this?
Splendid, isn't it?
Ideal for Jill's kitchen, isn't it? She could actually get all her nice blue and white plates on it. Lots of storage space. Couldn't be better.
I'm surprised it hasn't got a back. Do they have the backs these
They didn't
days?
always have backs, actually. I
So you
think
could
the
screw
more
it
money
up.
you paid for them originally, you got things like backs.
But say we bought that Georgian thing before, would they go together? Can you mix and match like that?
I wouldn't mix, actually, a Georgian oak with a pine. This would go in the kitchen, and I would assume that the Georgian oak, chest on chest, would go in the dining room.
These catalogues are really useful. They take the guesswork right out of it.
Come on, Ian, what you're playing at, it's a library chair. You lift it up from the back, like that, and you go up for your books, right?
What's this then, Maurice? A bucket?
No, this is a good old jam pan. That's quite heavy one. How they lifted it, I don't know. But it used to hang over the open fireplace and they made jam in it.
That'd look nice in John and Jill's kitchen, wouldn't it?
Yeah, with a good clean up, dried flowers in it. Beautiful.
Could you still make jam in it?
My wife still does. She has a jam pan and she'll use nothing else for making jam.
Right too.
Yeah, I do like that. That's a jardiniere.
I was going to ask you what it was called.
For putting plants in. And it is Dalton. It's got the Dalton mark. Perfect condition. Lovely piece. That would actually look nice in Jill's kitchen.
So what would you put in that? Bits of potpourri, crushed chilies or flowers?
Flowers, I would think. A plant in a plant pot.
Hence the name.
And I think that would go very well. She's planning a pine kitchen, so blue and white goes very well with pine.
Now, a natty set of scales like this would look nice in the kitchen, wouldn't they? What do you think they are?
They're ideal for the kitchen. Well, I would think they're shop scales.
In a sense, it doesn't matter what shop they're from, but these would look really good in the kitchen, wouldn't it?
The worrying thing is, actually, that they've got these weights with them.
Yeah.
And that's an awful big weight for those.
It is.
So it's certainly not from a tobacconist, is it? But retail scales, I would think. Quite nice in the kitchen.
What's this thing?
Oh, well, that, believe it or not, is made of paper. It's paper mache.
Does it feel
And it's
plastic?
typically Victorian, the black and the painted flowers. Should have a brush with it, though, I'm afraid.
Brush and dustpan, is it?
No, it's not a dustpan, it's a crumb tray.
A crumb
The
tray?
table. Yeah. Get the crumbs off the table. Don't use them today.
Hey, Maurice, fancy a duet? Another thing about the viewing day is that you don't part with any money, and without doubt, you can have a great deal of fun. I couldn't keep a good thing to myself, so I took Maurice back up to Scotland and let him loose, in a Mel Gibson kind of way, into re-establishing the historical links between England and Scotland.
Right, well, here's something that's probably within my budget. This is interesting because it's local pottery. It's dry leaves, which is an area of Montrose. And if you look at the glazing here, it's all run. The weight tells me that it's dry leaves. Whether or not I would want it in my collection, I don't know. Where would you put a bedpan? You would probably use it for a plant. Use that end for watering, why not? Now this particularly caught my eye. This is a Scottish snuff mould, which is late 19th century, silver top, very collectible. I love it, but I'm afraid it won't be within my price range. But I'm still going to have a look at it. There we are, little beauty, silver top, nicely engraved, no snuff in it. If I had a budget of £100 for that, then that would be mine. I think it's really, really nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right, it's important actually to keep looking because every time you look you find something that you didn't see the first time. This one I missed actually. This is actually in the catalogue and I didn't realise that is Scottish pottery, and it's quite a nice Victorian figure. And the estimate actually is below my budget, so I'm going to go for that. The estimate's £32.50. I doubt whether I'll get it, but nevertheless, I will have a try. And moving on, I've also found something which I particularly like here. This is Oriental again, 18th century, nice blue and white plate. They got a very low estimate on that of 20 to 30, so hopefully, with a bit of luck tomorrow, this will be mine.
Number 6, mid-18th century Chinese blue and white porcelain plate. £20, £20 only for the blue and white plate. 20 is your bid, ladies bid at 20, in the middle at 20. Choose the gentleman standing near me at 22. 24, ladies bid sir, 26. 26, the gentleman, madam, near me at 26. On my left at 26, gentleman's bid, standing and selling then at £26. 234 is the buyer, thank you.
Well, I got that well under budget. I would work that out about £30. I've got £20 left to spend. So we'll see how I do later on.
On number 67, Victorian Scottish pottery figure group of two lovers. £10, £10 for the figure group. 10 is the bid, gentleman's bid at 10, standing at 10, 12 in the seats. 15, 15 is in front, near me at 15. Gentleman's bid at 15, with the gentleman near me the bid is 15. 18, a lady now, 20. 20 is the bid, against you 20, 22 in the seats. 25, 28, 30. Standing at 30 against the lady, a gentleman's bid at 30 against you in the seats.
I pulled out there at £20, that's all I had left. I was hoping for too much, but nevertheless I've had a good buy earlier on. And it's important actually to set a limit at auction, not go above it. Don't get auction fever.
It's £5, £5 a lady's bid. In the seats at 5, with the lady now, the first and only bids with the lady.
Back to Yorkshire, and time for John, Jill and Maurice to settle into their seats to take the antiques plunge.
I was quite nervous around the idea of bidding, or people thinking I was bidding when actually I wasn't, and that held a degree of trepidation for me, in that I didn't want to end up with something that I wasn't really bidding for. So I was a little bit nervous in that respect. But I found it very exciting, very interesting.
I think it was good to go to an auction room with somebody who'd been before and somebody who was professional, because I think I probably would have been a little bit worried about picking up something that wasn't actually genuine. So to have somebody there who can help you. But there's a certain amount of security in an auction room as well, because that things have to be advertised as they are, and there's a certain amount of comeback in an auction room. So there's a little bit of a safety net there as well. And also you can pick things up and have a close look at them, and that's really important.
Well, I've left Jill and John in Maurice's capable hands to do some bidding at the auction. And I'm off to a place called Scolby, near Scarborough, where I've heard that a man can do amazing things with antique pine. The trouble is, I forgot, we've only got one car, and that's a problem. Paul Freeman is a man who just loves working with old wood, and he breathes new life into antique pine. In many cases, the wood he works with would just have ended up in a skip. After I managed to catch a lift, appropriately in a passing bin wagon, I got the chance to ask him why he'd got started.
I was started because I found that modern wood, a lot of the wood that you buy today, wasn't really very good quality. And once I set up a dipping tank, and I could dip old wood and bring it back to its former glory, then it was a lot better to work with. There was a lot more silk involved in the wood, a lot more richness of colour. So consequently, that's what got me started.
I mean, I know you work with old wood. Do you sometimes work with old tools?
Well, as you can see on the bench, I do work with old tools. All my chisels have got different handles. I used to work years ago with modern tools, plastic handles, but if you handle chisels all day long, you can't beat wood. And they're all different shapes, but then again, it's nice to work with different shapes. I can pick a chisel up with my eyes closed and know what chisel I've got.
Now these are the doors from John and Jill's house. We brought them along for Paul to work his magic. Those that are in good condition will be stripped back to their former glory after just a few hours. But even if a door is badly damaged, Paul's able to take some of the wood and turn it into custom-built furniture, which will be ideal for John and Jill's kitchen. For in Paul's mind, no door should ever be thrown away. Now that's a lovely door.
That's a good door, is that one? Yeah. It's got a nice silky pine, no burn marks, one or two holes up there for coat hooks, but apart from that it's not too bad. There isn't even a Yale hole in it, so we're quite lucky. And it's nicely balanced.
If it weren't an insult, I'd say we're just like new.
Well, yes, better than new really, because it's nicely seasoned, and it's got this lovely grain texture running throughout the lock rail, and the bottom rail. It's not been cut off either. A lot of them have been cut down here, so they're not in balance, you see. But that one's in balance. That's a good door, is that one?
That's a good door. Show me a bad door.
I'll show you a bad door. We'll stick this one over here. Now this is a bad door, and surprisingly enough, we get a lot of doors where people have played darts on. And but I can do things with that. I can do things because the other side's okay. So here, I can't sell it, of course, as a door, but I can take these panels out. I can put them into a cupboard, and so you'll be just looking at the other side, if you like. Or if someone wanted a glass door, then we can take the panels out and we can put glass in, you see. But surprisingly enough, we do get quite a few doors where they've had a good life stopping darts from going into people, I suppose. So there we are.
The possibilities are endless. It's worth remembering, before you chuck away an old piece of wood furniture, there are people like Paul who can uncover antiques already in the house, or can provide you with antique furniture for a fraction of the cost. Now, this is a lovely table. It'll look great in John and Jill's kitchen. Do you give people advice on what to put in the kitchens, Paul?
Yes, I do. Yes, and this would be a good table in their kitchen. It's in a nice thick top and it'll last a lifetime.
Right, well, and of course, don't forget your knobs and hinges are always very important. But what kind of price would you give us for this, roughly?
I would think a table like this, with a bit of restoration work, around about 150, maybe £200. Good investment.
Aye.
100 bid, £100 any bid and 10, 110, 10 bid, 20. 40.
You just went over what you said, Maurice.
How much did it go for?
20.
Just because it was the actual day of the auction, there was still no reason why John and Jill shouldn't be enjoying themselves. Without question, there's a terrible fear that wiping sweat off your top lip or a nervous twitch could mean you end up spending a fortune on something you didn't want. But there really is nothing to be worried about.
Pound, 1945.
I think when you're actually bidding for items, it's nice to feel relatively nervous. It's a nice buzz. It's a good feeling to have. because you've got that feeling about the fact that you know when you've got to stop, that you've got to keep that in the back of your mind, because it's also easy to get run away with yes I want that item, and end up paying more for it than you can actually afford. So there's all these other things going on in your head as well. So it is a really exciting feeling, and quite a nervous feeling as well, because you always like to think that nobody else is going to bid for it, and then of course if there's 3 or 4 other people in the room bidding, it is a very nervous feeling. And when do you come in? When do you start bidding? Do you start at the beginning and show that you're really interested, or do you wait a little bit? It's really exciting and enjoyable. I really enjoyed it.
I'm controlling the bidding. £38 in a bid, £40 in bid, done then at £40.
Do you think people sometimes get nervous about coming to these because they assume the room's full of experts?
Yes, so I would say that virtually there's a large section of the public who are too nervous to come into an auction room. And in actual fact, it's a marvellous opportunity, really. It's the opportunity to visit a museum where you can handle the goods and learn a great deal. And I think more people should realise that.
So what's the auctioneer's view when you actually stood up there getting all the bids in?
A sea of faces. And you have to concentrate all the time, because people do, in actual fact, those who bid sometimes have rather strange ways of doing it. The wink of an eye, possibly, the flick of a finger, just a minute movement once they've actually entered bidding, so you have to keep your wits about you. So, I mean, the majority of people are quite straightforward and will wave their arm in the air, and if we don't see them, they should shout. It's no good shouting after the hammer's dropped.
20.
With the confidence flowing and having watched Maurice hard at work all morning, which makes a change, it was time for John and Jill to pluck up courage and bid for one of the items we'd taken a shine to on the viewing day.
23, reserve band there, that's a large one.
I'll show the number if you get it, but don't go above 25.
Yes, that's that. £20, 20, 10 there.
Oh, no.
Well, that's 10, 10 a bit, 10, £10 bit, 10 a bit. 12.
I think it's important that you have a discipline when you go in there, and you say to yourself before you start to bid what price would be acceptable to you, the limit that you're willing to go to.
Well done, you got it.
Where's your number?
Well done. All right, sorry.
Piece of cake. Anybody can do it. And it was just the start of a very successful day. So, if we've whetted your appetite, check your local papers to see when your next auction is. Often, it's local estate agents that run these, and most importantly, enjoy them. Well, we've had a great 2 days, we've got lots of ideas for John and Jill's kitchen, and I hope we've shown you that buying antiques needn't be frightening. In fact, it can be fun. Cheers. Now then, Maurice, there was once this auctionman and his wife died, and they said, he said, I want you to put, he said to the stonemason, I want you to put the words, she was thine, on the grave. And the stonemason got it wrong and he put, she was thin. And the guy went to see it, he says, you've missed out the E. He says, oh, I'll alter it. So when he went back, he said, E, she was thin.
Yes.
Which is like the one about John Wayne, when he's doing the thing about, as in Spartacus, and he's at Christ's cross. And he went, surely this
6, 8, £200 in a bid goes, selling it now all down £200.